Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Moin, and I work as the Chief of Staff for the Greater Austin Asian Chamber of Commerce. In today's webinar, we have invited Mr. Christian Leman from ZenBusiness for a session on LLC one-on-one for freelancers. This workshop is part of GAACC's Business Essential Initiative. The Business Essential Workshop happens on the second Wednesday of every month and provide an opportunity, particularly for startups to help and plan to step into the business world, turn their dreams into reality. We will be recording this webinar, and at the end of the presentation, there will be an opportunity for Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to leave your questions in the question and answer box below. Here, we would like to also thank Ms. Shiho Masuda from the membership committee for leading the Business Essential Workshop as a GAACC champion. We would also like to thank our partners, our corporate sponsors, who have been continuously helping us sponsoring events like this. So we have a bunch of sponsors who are helping, and I would like to thank Mr. Christian Leman for taking out his time. Currently, he works as the Vice President for ZenBusinesses as Vice President for Business and Development. Now, I would like to hand it over to him.
Very excited about being part of this program this month. And we're going to give you a short presentation. That's not going to be a lecture. It's more going to be a testimonial about our experience and my experience with LLC formation as actually a user since I joined ZenBusiness as a customer before joining the team. Try to leave enough time for questions and try to answer all your questions. So please put your question into the chat so that we can get back to them at the end. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a tax advisor. If you will be able to answer all your general questions, and I'm happy to share my own experience with my own consulting business. But if you have any specific situation you'd like to discuss, please contact your legal or tax advisor. So as I said, after leaving Expedia in 2019, I decided to start a consulting business. I'm part of the US delegation at ISO for the development of the new international standard for innovation management, ISO 56000. So it was like a natural move for me to start a consulting business in innovation management. So that's how I started getting to know ZenBusiness as I was creating my LLC. So that's the experience I'm gonna share today. So and the experience I'm going to share is really about freelancer consulting, but obviously a lot of things I'm going to say about LLC can be used for any type of business. The interesting things when you're consulting is that you have the choice of operating as under an LLC or without an LLC, which means you operate as a sole proprietor. Clearly, if you have a more brick and mortar business like a restaurant, the question is kind of more obvious that you're going to create an LLC no matter what. But for like those freelance consulting job, it's kind of a question that a lot of users may have. Another way to know if you operate in an LLC or under a sole proprietorship is that if you use your personal social security number on invoices or as a tax identifier in general, or if you were issued an EIN, which is kind of the equivalent of a social security number for an LLC. So the thing that I didn't like when I started that consulting business as a sole proprietor is that, I mean, we're in the US, so you're always worried about getting sued. And I didn't like that everything was kind of mixed up between what I was doing as like personal asset and my new consulting business. So that's kind of the primary thing that really made me uncomfortable. Also, things that I found a little tricky with that kind of freelance consulting business is that when you spend something like you take an Uber to the airport, or you get a lunch before conference, is it personal activity? Is it business activity? You always have to choose, and it's never very clear if it's part of your job, or it's part of your personal life. Just like it is when you're an employee. When you're an employee of a company and you're on a business trip for the company, it's pretty clear that you're going to get reimbursed for your T&Es. When it's your own business, it's a lot less clear. Also, there is a trick, it's called a DBA, to actually create a fictitious business name, a fake business name when you operate as a consultant. But in general, when you are as a sole proprietor, it means that you're going to use your own name as describing your business, personal name, which I didn't feel looked like very professional especially when you're dealing with large corporate clients. And two other things. First, I had two projects where I was working with other people, teaming up with me as experts on the larger project. And so if you don't really have a set of business, you kind of appear as like individuals, a bunch of individuals working on those projects, not as like a consulting firm providing a service to a large corporation. So I didn't like these to not have a clear umbrella for those projects. And lastly, depend on everybody's situation, but I was wondering whether there would be like some tax optimization that could make sense for me. So that's why I started to look at LLC. That's how I discovered ZenBusiness. Something I actually learned as part of that experience. I thought LLCs were part of the legal system in the US forever, and that's not true. It's actually a very recent addition to the legal system. The first state that created the concept of LLC was Wyoming in '77, and then it took like 20 years for all the other states to create their own version of LLC, which also means that when we talk about LLC, they're kind of different in every state. So that's going to be part of the discussion we can have in a few minutes. There's that complexity. Everybody's different. Every state is different. You have to follow different requirements when you create your LLC, and also on the following years to stay compliant. To give you more detail, I thought that was actually more interesting to leave our experts talk about it. We have a pretty cool set of videos on ZenBusiness that you can review for free. And there's one about exactly what we're talking about here, forming your business and choosing your different structure. So I'm gonna switch to that short video. It's like a 5-minute video, 3-minute video, and I'll let we can take it from there afterwards.
Welcome back to Zen Business Academy. If you've recently done a web search on the best business type to form, there's a good chance you ended up more confused than ever after reading through a dizzying array of information and suggestions. In this lesson, our Zen Business instructors will clear it all up and help you make the best decision possible. Let's get started.
One of your most important and challenging tasks as a business owner is to choose the type of business you'd like to form. Most new businesses are compatible with one of 5 common business entity types. We'll discuss each one and weigh the benefits and drawbacks for different types of businesses. You may already be familiar with the first business type, sole proprietorships. A sole proprietorship is a one-person operation. It's easy to form and operate a sole proprietorship with minimal licensing, forms, and fees involved. In addition, sole proprietorships are not subject to double taxation. You'll only file one set of taxes as the owner. One drawback that can be major depending on your industry is that sole proprietorships offer no protection of personal assets in the event of a lawsuit or other legal issue.
Similar to a sole proprietorship, but slightly more complex, is a general partnership. Like a sole proprietorship, these are easy to operate and do not experience double taxation. General partnerships are also similar to sole proprietorships in that there is no liability protection. The homes, bank accounts, and other personal property of the business's partners are all potentially on the line if a lawsuit arises.
The next three business types we'll discuss all require business filings with the state and other compliance efforts. Let's start with limited liability companies, also known as LLCs. This type of business structure is popular because it offers liability protection for personal assets as well as no double taxation. An LLC is also a more flexible structure than a corporation. One slight downside is that, unlike some other business types, LLC owners are required to pay self-employment taxes.
The final two types of businesses are actually federal tax designations, C corporations and S corporations. C corporations offer benefits like liability protection and easy company sale and transfer, along with some drawbacks, including double taxation and stricter regulations. On the other hand, S corporations enjoy pass-through taxation, meaning profits are passed directly to the owners of the business. This means that the S corporation owners pay self-employment taxes on their salaries that they themselves designate, and only regular personal income tax on distributions. It's worth noting here that not everything can be classified as a distribution, though, and that owners must pay themselves a reasonable compensation, which is subject to the Federal Insurance Contributions Act tax and Social Security. This is actually one of the most significant reasons why someone might choose to classify as an S corporation. The potential savings on self-employment taxes alone could be quite significant.
No matter what kind of business you operate, there's an entity type that's right for you. If you have any questions about picking a business entity type, reach out to ZenBusiness. Up next, you'll learn how each business entity type is governed.
So there are a few more videos that you can watch online on our website for free, all focus on different topics about creating a business. So I think it's a valuable resource as well. So once I created my LLC, kind of everything feels a little bit different because now you have your EIN. That's what you use in your W-9 form when you deal with larger corporations. That's kind of your social security number now that is independent from your personal social security number that you use for all business transactions. I opened a bank account for my business with Wells Fargo. I created a domain name. I created a trademark for my business. So everything feels like real business at this point. I didn't go into business loan. I didn't need one, but I knew that I was building even like a credit score for my business. So it feels like I really had a real business from that point on. So I created my LLC in Texas. Sometimes there are flexibility, but the general rules is that you create your LLC in the state where you operate your business. So there's not really a way to just create your LLC in a different state, like in Delaware, if you think it would be optimal. The idea of the law is that you create your LLC in the state where you operate your business. So there are stuff that you need to do every year, mostly to keep your business in good standing. I didn't find that too complicated, honestly. It comes like in May, and you have to go on the. I mean, ZenBusiness help do it for me, but you have to go report your revenue, that sort of things, and that's how. And then you get a confirmation from your state that your LLC remains in good standing. And then everything related to taxes, that's something I dealt with my tax advisor, my CPA, and it was fairly straightforward as well. So when you look at pros and cons about, hey, should freelancer create an LLC or not? Honestly, I think the main drawback is that you need to go through the step of creating the LLC, and you need to think of keeping in compliant over the years. There are some fees related to that depending on the state, but that's kind of the major inconvenience. And I think in return, you have a bunch of cool benefits. I really felt that operating as a real business with my business name on the invoices, etc., gave me a lot more credibility in my consulting project. Sometimes it's actually required with certain organizations, certain corporations to have an LLC, and even like provide UEIN, provide the number, for instance. So sometimes actually you don't have really a choice. I actually save quite a bit of money on my taxes, but depends on every situation. At that point on, I had really had two different credit cards. So I really knew every time I was spending something, if I was spending as part of my business or like personal stuff. So that was kind of having two different bank accounts, two different credit cards that really made things easier to reconcile my expenses at the end of the month, working with my accountant. And also working with other people, that was actually, I thought, a lot easier to have everybody on the same invoice under a brand, under the same brand, the consulting name. I didn't even have to disclose to the client that we were actually independently related in the back end. We're just managing the re-invoicing between each other. And I think having this LLC as an umbrella was really making things more professional for my customers. So S Corp, C Corp, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Probably was enough information in the video. So there's kind of different level of business entities at the federal level. So you can ask for an S Corp election on top of your LLC, for instance. Probably makes sense once you generate enough revenue, or as a C Corp, if you plan to have more shareholders, investors, etc. It's probably what most people would go as a structure. To form an LLC, there are really three options. You can do it yourself if you're comfortable with it. So on the right, you see the different steps that you need to follow to create your LLC in Texas. Second option is to use an online service like ZenBusiness is going to do it for you. And third option is to hire a local lawyer. So really, most people would use one of the three to create their structure. We have an ebook that gives a lot more details. It's a mini ebook, it's like 45 pages, something. So just send us an email and I'll be able to send it to you as a PDF. So since creating my LLC, actually got in touch with the team, and they ended up offering me a job, and I was super excited to join the team at ZenBusiness. We have a lot of freelancers who've decided to create the LLC with ZenBusiness, and really the main reason is peace of mind, because especially if it is the first time you're creating a business and you have a lot to worry about your client, about creating your brand, etc., dealing with the state, it is not something that is like your top priority. So knowing that someone else is going to do it for you, and you have the guarantee that's going to be done right, is probably the main reason why a lot of freelancers work with us. We've actually, it's pretty cool, we've been recognized last year as the best LLC service in the country by Forbes. So you can go follow this line and see what Forbes was saying about us. What I really liked about ZenBusiness is really focus on customer service. So we have excellent customer service. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to to go on our website, to chat, ask you questions, to chat with the team, or even call the team. They offer like a one-on-one conversation to help you launch your business, discuss the different options, and they are an amazing team. As part of this webinar, we're super excited to launch a partnership with your community here in Austin and offer you discounts when you're ready to create your business entity. So significant discount here, as you can see, means that creating an LLC is not actually that expensive, especially because in Texas the state fee are not super high. So happy to offer that as a special perk for the members. And to access your discounted to redeem your discount, you just need to either scan this QR code or follow this short URL, and you'll get to a landing page that's going to give you more information, and then you can get started creating your business. Do we have any question on the chat?
Yes, there are quite a few questions. I have received two questions. Do you want me to
Sure.
ask them? So we received a question from someone saying, as an Uber driver, can I register my business as an LLC?
Yeah, we actually have a lot of Uber drivers among our customers, Lyft and Uber drivers, obviously. And really, I actually myself conducted a bunch of interviews with Lyft drivers in Q3. And really, the main reason when you ask among our customers why they decided to operate their LLC, their ride-sharing business under an LLC, was really making sure everything was separate between personal assets and the business. Comes as a second protection on top of insurance, and also really cleanly separate everything related to business expense for rideshare to personal expense. So that's really also some of them were like wanted to build business credit to buy a car. So that's also that was kind of a part of their motivation.
We have another question. They're asking about if they can change the registration type of their business entity from C Corp to LLC.
So C Corp and LLC are two different things. So you can transfer the assets from a C Corp to an LLC, but they are kind of their own standalone existence, very different structure. So I don't know a case where that makes sense to transfer a C Corp into an LLC, but probably the best way to do that would be to create a separate LLC and transfer the asset from the C Corp into the LLC, if that makes sense.
Thank you so much. We have received a bunch of other questions too. The question is, what's the difference between LLC and Incorporation S Corp? I believe that's the question. And why do we want to choose LLC instead of other options? The following question is that I'm an immigrant. Do you have any advice for immigrants who want to start and do good at their businesses, but have a little bit of fear here in the US?
Sure. So S Corp is, as kind of the video was explaining, is an additional election that come on top of the LLC at the federal level. That makes sense depending on everybody's situation. It changes how taxation are being recorded. So it comes as it probably makes sense if for instance, one of the examples is when people start making revenue or having like employees that where they choose to go for an S Corp election. Second question about immigrants. I'm actually an immigrant. I'm coming from Europe, as you can tell. As far as I know, any U.S. residents can create an LLC. So it's not related to citizenship as far as I know, but better check. That's a question that you can ask, by the way, by chatting on ZenBusiness, and that's kind of the discussion you can have with the team based on your personal situation. And the cool thing is that coming from a different background, used to different body of laws, it's actually cool to be able to rely on a company like online platform like ZenBusiness to really create your LLC for you on your behalf, so that you're sure you're not going to mess up the process directly with the Secretary of State.
Great, thank you. We have another question here. What if you wanted to open a business operating solely online? Are we able to register as LLC, as well as what is the best way to go about that?
Yes, so online or not, any business can be created as an LLC if it makes sense. So the fact that it's online does not really interfere with your choice of business structure. So you still have the same consideration to go through based on pros and cons of each structure. But you can definitely create an LLC to run an online business. A lot of most of the Amazon sellers, for instance, would create an LLC to host their Amazon business.
Awesome, thank you so much. Pretty much, yeah, the person who asked the question is saying thank you. Pretty much those were the questions we received so far from the participants. Any other questions? If not, then again, thank you so much, Christian, for taking out your time. Thank you, ZenBusinesses, for being there to help the chamber. ZenBusinesses is one of our event sponsors, and we also thank all the participants who attended to today's event.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you, all of the participants, next month on the second Wednesday of March for a cascading workshop on Business Essential. So until then, take care of yourself. Thank you once again.